Goedenavond allemaal, hier zijn we weer. De 35e aflevering. Ik heb het zojuist nog even nagekeken, omdat ik iedere week zoiets heb van, ik ben een tel kwijt. Dus officieel gezien 35e aflevering. En voor de 35e aflevering hebben we iets helemaal anders. We gaan vanavond hebben over Calvados. Daarvoor heb ik iemand uitgenodigd van wie ik een tasting heb meegekregen afgelopen juli. Online uiteraard. Voor mij een hele ontdekking. Ik was wel een beetje bekend met Calvados, maar ik moet zeggen van ik was zeer aangenaam verrast. Voor de dames ben ik ook wel vrij zeker van dat zij ook wel aangenaam verrast zullen zijn. Ik kan me voorstellen dat zoals u zei wel een knap manneke. Dus ik ga zo dadelijk Alex uitnodigen, maar ik wil voordat ik start even twee mensen feliciteren die vandaag zelf jarig zijn. Ellen en Mark Awoters, dus Ellen Ro. Dikke proficiat beide en geniet nog van jullie avond. Drink er een drammetje op en tot binnenkort sowieso. En tot die tijd gaan we het sowieso hebben over Calvados nu. Dus here he is.
Hi everyone.
Hi Alex.
Hi Gunther. How are you?
I'm fine. I hope you too.
Yeah.
I see you're outside, so that's cool.
Yeah. Here I'm in the middle of an orchard, not in Normandy, but back on my origins here in the Alps, close to.
Yeah. You were saying that the Alps, is it nearby Italy, I presume?
Yeah.
Or Swiss?
Around 60 kilometers from Mont Blanc, so close to Italy, and also 30 kilometers from Geneva. The closest city would be Annecy, which is known for its lake and outdoor sports like skiing and a lot of.
And the internet, of course.
Yeah,
even in the Alps.
Yeah.
So you're sitting outside in the mountains, I presume.
Yeah. This is where I'm just like 1,000 meters high right now, in the middle of an orchard where everything starts for me. Basically, I'm close to my grandfather's house. This is where I'm based now. After the lockdown, I decided to move from Paris, where I was based, doing all the export for the company. And I had the chance from Guillaume Drouin. He gave me the chance after 2 years working for him to come back to my origins and being more in the nature atmosphere, what I like a lot. And still doing the same for the company with the same energy, even more, because now I can do what I like, skiing, hiking, enjoying this beautiful environment. So, and now, I'm in the middle.
Do a little bit of distillation yourself.
Yes. Sometimes in October, November, you could smell some distillation flavor in esters here around.
Okay. So when everybody is hiking in near, so if you get a visit from Belgium or whatever you're looking, and it's like, I saw you on Saint Magon and you told me.
Yeah, this place is really popular for Belgian people during the winter time and summertime. A lot of people come here, so I'm sure those names I was talking about before ring a bell to some of you guys.
Yeah. I have to be honest, I'm not into hiking or skiing or something like that. I'm not that expensive. I do a lot of drinking, tasting. I don't drink, I taste.
Exactly.
I know my wife is looking, so I have to be careful what I say.
Okay.
So, Alex, you're working for a small company. It's Calvados Christian Drouin. It's of course it's a big country, a big seller in France. Do you have any idea how many houses there are in France making Calvados?
Calvados, there is I would say more than 200, less than in the past. But I would say the market is filled by 20 main houses, family business for most of them. So you've got big names, big companies, big business. The good thing is there is no big actors. I would say Pernod Ricard or Bacardi Martini. They are not involved.
No Diageo, no Pernod Ricard, no Bacardi, stuff like that. Okay.
A great opportunity for us to get some listings sometimes in hotels or restaurants, quite renowned with a good reputation. There is no agreement for Calvados, so we always have a small chance to have our bottles on the back bar or even shop.
And Alex, how can I? If I think about France, I always think about wine, of course. The second place for me, it's cognac and champagne. More or less the same. Calvados is, I think, the fifth because you have Armagnac as well. So the French make a lot of alcohol, by the way.
A lot of aperitif
and France people do a lot of drinking whiskey because the whiskey market is big in France as well.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, there's the beer. Again, actually, you're all alcoholics if I hear myself talking.
But it's our daily life, I would say. It's part of our culture.
But what do you think is the biggest? Wine?
We say wine is the biggest, and then we say beers is taking a big part of the market because it's low ABV, it's
cheaper, of course.
And this big trend of craft beers, we are not just linked with big players now. There is craft beers everywhere in your region or even just national ones. So beer is getting bigger. But in terms of spirits, whiskey is the biggest one. Obviously, is about blends first, main consumption. But we also have a big selection. I think it's with Belgium and some other countries, we've got the best selections for the best bottles coming to our country. So this is good for our education.
And what's bigger, cognac or Calvados or Armagnac?
Sorry?
About in between the three, you have cognac, Armagnac, and Calvados. What is the biggest? I presume it's cognac.
I think it's not. I think Calvados can be the first of those three, because cognac is popular for export.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's still 98% exporting, and then I would say Armagnac is lower in volume.
It's a smaller part.
Sure, but, and now we've got a big interest from younger generation for Calvados. First, apple is known by everyone and enjoyed by everyone from young age, even before grapefruit. And
let's make alcohol of it.
And I think also the cider, the French cider, is getting more popular. So this transformation goes well with the evolution of the palate of the consumer. I would say this is my just live explanation of it. But those now with the local consumption, made in France, and I would say like more traditional beverages are coming back. So aperitif is a big thing now in France. We've got the traditional Lillet, Dolin, or Dolin in French, or even Cap Mattei, which are like French vermouth, Noliprat. They're coming back.
I forgot about vermouth as well. Sorry, and rum, of course.
and rum. Yeah.
Actually, really a bunch of drunks. Even more than us Belgians.
But the main challenge is always going to quality, and this is why we do this type of videos like today, because as I say, like the main quantities of whiskey are still blends. I don't mean that blend is not quality stuff. I like so much blends, but this is still black label, and those really low quality are the most popular.
We got our first question, and I think it's a pretty good one. Is there a reason the big drinks conglomerates aren't involved in the Calvados houses? Not that I mind, just curious.
They were involved. If I'm not wrong, I think it was Bacardi. Bacardi was involved in Calvados. There is the biggest player is owned not by a group as we know as Pernod or Diageo, but it's owned by Russian investors. So there is investors for the first one, and there is also La Martiniquaise, which is involved in Calvados. But then I would say global wise, Calvados is not interesting for.
It's a small one.
they prefer to be involved, in whiskey, rum, gin industry.
I see we have a special guest this evening, Juliette. Hi, Juliette, welcome. And she says, don't forget pastis, absinthe, Pinot de Charon.
Yeah,
I forgot about her. You know Juliette?
No,
No?
but
Juliette is the brand ambassador of Glenallachie, and I'm pretty sure you have to meet her. She's lovely, and she knows her alcohol as well.
nice. Oh yeah, would be a pleasure to meet. But yeah, she's right. Absinthe, eau de vie in general, specialty of distillers or aperitif producer. Really interesting to get to know, and for mixing or only by itself, enjoying summertime. Every time of the year, there is something to drink.
Every occasion, it's okay by us. Okay.
Every occasion is right.
Tonight we're going to talk about Calvados, of course, and more especially your Calvados, and I don't mean only your Calvados you're making at this point, but your employee as well, Christian Drouin. First off, what is Calvados? Because you said it already, it's made about apples, but for us Belgians, we don't actually know. We know it's a part like the bottle looks like this. It's a funny smell for us. But what is it?
Yeah, basically, so Calvados is made of apples, but specific apples. It can be also made with pears. As you've got here, they are smaller apples than the one you can find in the shops. You will cook with or bite in. They are smaller in size, but what we're looking for, we've got the chance to work with more than 250 varieties of apples and around 50 varieties of pears in Normandy. They are the ones you can use to make Calvados. They are polyphenolic, so a lot of tannins are into those apples. So juicy, but more than juicy, they are really complex, and they will bring this length that we are looking for when we press to obtain apple juice. Then fermenting naturally, as you can see here, this is the moderated pressing, I would say, the press that we've got. Similar to champagne production, but yeah, basically we're using a specific type of apples and pears, and then we naturally ferment it. We can't use cultivated yeast, which is quite unique in the industry. You can think about some rums or some mezcal. I used to work for many years. This is one of my main line. I like those types of spirits where the environment is really involved and you are not like finding a specific line from a batch to another. So naturally ferment, and then those ciders, when they reach 5.5, 6% alcohol, will be distilled, can be in column still or double distilled in pot stills. This is the pot still we are using. And from that point, we are collecting the head of the distillation. We can produce what we call eau de vie of cider. This is still not Calvados. This is what we call La Blanche. La Blanche is another vie of cider. This type of juice needs 2 years minimum, at least 2 years, to become Calvados. So it's another vie of cider apples that you will age in French oak at least 2 years, and it will become Calvados at that point.
Okay, yes. These are the fats.
So you need to respect. Sorry.
No, the fats, they are not the same as in the more common fats they use for example, rum or whiskey.
No, and those ones are the few we've got because those ones are the biggest. They are used for making our pomo, which is an aperitif, similar to what you were mentioning before, like the Pinot de Charente, made of grape. We are using apples, and we produce an aperitif which is called pomo. So this is where we age it. But also, it's this type of vats are used for blending our VSOP or Odage, but not for aging.
Okay,
Or just
so these are just used for the Calvados. This is the
yes,
warehouse. Okay.
yeah. This is what one of our warehouse looks like. We've got more than 1,200 casks in our warehouse in Normandy, and they are tasted every year by Guillaume and his father. During 2 months, they split it in about 50 samples. They try to have the tasting notes, making sure they are not having some Calvados like over oaky, because our main job in Calvados Drouin, this is our main goal, is to have the apple in every single bottle that we sell, or that the apple is the I would say the heart of the project. You will never hide the apple. It needs to be the king in the glass.
Do you agree? It's different when most of us in Belgium, and especially during this show, we all are whiskey lovers. A few of us are rum lovers as well, and the types, those two types are different. But when you try a Calvados, it's completely different. I can't compare it with anything I know. Maybe if I have to choose, maybe a bit of cider. It's more or less the same smell, but can you compare it with something else than Calvados?
Calvados, no, it's pretty unique. This is why I like this challenge I've got for 2 years now. It's pretty unique. We've got big history. It's kind of a dusty, old school spirit, and I like this challenge. I had the chance to promote mezcal in the past, and it was exactly the same. It was a spirit that even the people from the country, they were not like giving all the they were not.
When you talk about mezcal or tequila, everybody thinks about shots.
And
it's completely different. I know.
So I like this challenge to take back or bringing back the Calvados on the tables in different ways. We try to be to be focusing on bars with some products we've got, but also bringing back the Café Calva. I don't know if you heard about this before.
No.
Like enjoying a small espresso with a spoon of La Blanche, which is what during many years people before going to work around 7 o'clock in the morning, or they were drinking to have some courage and spend a good day on a cold weather during the winter time. So bringing back like some rituals, but also bring some fresh new ideas. And this is what I like working with Guillaume Drouin, which is the third generation and in charge of the company right now.
Yeah, talking about them, 3 generations. The first one, what's his name?
So here on the picture, you've got 2 Christian Drouin. You've got the first generation on your left-hand side, the black and white picture. This man is start everything from scratch for this company. So in the 1960s, he was in charge of his own business close to Rouen, on the north of Normandy, and he decided to buy a house, a farm, where a lot of cider apples were planted. And he decided to transform those apples. He had a good neighbor. He was one of the most famous distiller at that time. And he learned everything from him, from knowing why you've got those varieties. You've got more than 25 varieties on the same hectare. Why you've got this cohabitation of varieties and not working on monovarietal, to fermentation and understanding distillation and also aging. So Christian Drouin first generation was really involved in understanding what Calvados is about and what's the complexity of this drink. And so for 20 years, he was fermenting, distilling, transforming those apples into Calvados, aging without to sell any bottle, And this is the second generation, which is Christian Drouin also. The name is done on the same
Just
way.
to make it easy.
Yeah, make it easier. And Christian Drouin, second generation, which is still in charge of some countries now. When you like and you got a big passion for what you do, you still work, even if you're, I think, he's 74 years old. So still really involved in the company. And he had this big change. I mean, it's a gift from the gods, having a lot of casks, all aged by vintages, so not blended. And everything could start from this. The only thing is Christian Drouin Company was not the first on the market. We are one of the youngest Calvados company, I would say. So selling in the region in Normandy was not so easy. So he decided to bring the Calvados in places where it was not. So he met some chefs in Paris, sommeliers. Those people took a bit of time to enjoy Calvados and the quality, and then the recognition
food
came and reputation, and then he decided to move to export, and now we're exporting in more than 57 countries. So it's a big.
At this point, I presume you're one of the biggest worldwide.
I would say in terms of country covering, yes. In terms of volumes, we are, I think, just in top 10. I think in 9 or 8. So yeah, there is big players, but Christian Drouin did a big job making sure he was working with the right collaborators, the right partners in every country. So Belgium is a nectar, but we go to different places. We are lucky enough to work with passionate people and taking big care about the company, the philosophy. And even if we are a small category, we still have a big space in their heart, and also when they, in their speech, salespeople and the directors, they also have a small thought for this small category, which is Calvados.
Yeah. Before we started broadcasting, we were talking, and you said last year you traveled to Japan during Spirits in the Sky.
Yeah,
Taiwan. Sorry. But how do people react on Calvados? Because I think they don't know it at that point.
Yeah. So no, they don't know. The good thing is 5 years ago, Guillaume brought Brian's ID. He decided to distill a gin, and based on cider apples. And the objective was the goal was to bring more people into our core range, which is Calvados. And I have to say it works. And this is the way we open some new markets, and we bring some interest to what we know more, which is Calvados. So
I have to admit, Alex, I started out with the gin as well.
Yeah. So it was really clever. Guillaume had a brilliant idea, producing a gin, and gin it's really popular. And when we speak about gin, it's easy to move to what we know more, which is apple juice, poire, cider, pomo, and Calvados.
Yeah.
So this is the way that we had the first contact with the Taiwanese importer, which is I think you know well, this importer is the Spirit Selection. The famous bottler in Taiwan. Spirit Selection? No. No. Okay. So,
sorry.
No problem. But yeah, they are bottling like a really good whiskeys all around the world, and maybe I'm wrong on the name. I'm just thinking. But yeah, this is the way they discover our range, and then moving to Calvados. So when I was there, I always start with a Calvados. I don't start with a gin, because for me, juniper will all the aromas, the flavors, the subtle flavors you can have in the Calvados. But before I start with the beginning with La Blanche, which is not aged, it's good for education, and then moving to the SOP, so Audage, and then to what makes the company quite special, which is the vintages. We've got vintages from 1939 up to 2000. And then at the end, what they were looking for from the beginning. This is the gin. So most of the time they come for 3 minutes and they stay 25 minutes.
I get acquainted with the Calvados itself a few years ago with your colleague at Spirits in the Sky, and I was like, I don't know. I know it by name, but I don't know how it tastes. I don't know the origins or whatever. Can you tell me something more? And he started out and he gave me some stuff, and I have to admit, at first it was, I don't know. It's different because as a whiskey lover, it is different. But then at one point he gave me, and I think it's this one. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. It's the rum base, the 13-year-old rum finished. And when I tried that one, it was like, whoa, this is great. This is great stuff.
There is really good combination with ex-cask. For example, we've got this traditional way of making Calvados. You mentioned the XO before, or other blends or vintages, but we like to experiment a lot in Calvados Christian Drouin, and we like to experiment with ex-rum cask, as you just mentioned. I think it's the Savannah ex-Savannah rum cask we did with Amden recently. It was a huge success.
It was it was sold out in Belgium. I mean, shop-wise, within 24 hours. Yeah, of course you have it with you. I wasn't able to try it, and I hope to try it one day. So if anybody is looking and he says, I want to give him a sample, please do.
Yeah. So experimenting also with ex-cognac, but also with fortified wine, which is part of our, I would say, our blends. When we've got blends that we need to balance to bring this complexity to another level, and also bring this length. We use ex-fortified wine as sherry, amontillado, or port, which is historically something that was really common in France. We were big consumer of port during a time, sherry a bit less, and a lot of casks, they were full of sherry and port, were coming from Portugal and Spain to Le Havre, which is the harbour, the closest from the distillery. And they were selling the juices, and then the casks were resent or not used for a second refill or something else. So some Norman distiller, they decided to experiment, and this is our specialty. Some producers are still doing, but this is our specialty, and this is the way we balance and sometimes experiment. But I have to say, sherry and Calvados, sherry and apple, amazing. Also rum, Amden, but others are really cool. So we've got. I was at the distillery a week ago, and I had the chance to be with some bartenders, and we like to take the time for just smelling and tasting from the cask. We don't have the same restriction as you can have in other categories, so we have the chance to come and just taste from the cask, and and we had the chance to taste the new releases that we will have in a few months or a few years, just to see how it evolved with casks from different origins. I would say like original casks.
Talking about new releases, you mentioned before, the Hamden was a big seller, and especially in Belgium. There will be a follow-up within a few weeks.
Yeah. So
can you tell us something more about it?
Yeah. The first edition of this new range, because it's a new range. Basically, before we had a range called Calvados Expression. This is what you were mentioning before. The bottle you've got, Rum Savannah. We stopped it because talking with Guillaume, we realized that we were doing 6 releases per year with export, ex-sherry. Beniewd was working really well, but we wanted to have more impact on the market and having big news to bring more lights on what we were doing. So we decided to do 1 launch per year. But based on this big success of this new range called Expérimental de Christian Drouin, we decided to do a second one this year. So in March, it was the Amden cask finish. It was 14 years Calvados. and then 8 months in ex Amden cask coming directly from the distillery, thanks to our friends from Velier. Luca Gargano is a big fan of our product. He's importing our product in Italy, and so we had the chance to have those casks. And now the next one will be in October. Will be Mars whiskey, Japanese distillery, not renowned as the Yamasaki group or others, or even Shishibu or Ichiro. But Mars, they've got the same philosophy I've got. This is what we are looking for in this range, trying to do some collaboration, deep, I would say, close collaboration with distillery. They've got the same way of thinking according spirits, trying to not adding I would say, no sugar, no caramel, trying to be the most natural. So Amden is one, Mars whiskey is another one, but yeah, we've got plenty for the next years. So the reason why I've got this smile.
Do you have an idea what's going on within the next few years? What's in store?
We've got in our mind was thinking about the Ein cognac.
Okay.
We've got some other rums from different origins because it works well with rum. So with Guillaume, we decided to represent the rum universe, mixing with our Calvados. So you will have some representative of every, I would say, like quite renowned and appreciated rum distilleries by the big fans. So I think we will make noise in the future again.
Look out. Okay. So, I heard. I don't know if it's true, but I heard the Hamden expression. You weren't allowed of the distillery isn't allowed to call it Calvados itself. Why is that?
That's right, because by definition, Calvados needs to be aged in French oak cask. I mentioned earlier that we're using export and sherry. So the restriction is not as strict as it could be because we don't know the origins of the ex-sherry and port cask. And this is just because it's historical. We are allowed to use them. But when it's about rum, most of the time it's ex-bourbon cask. So when it's bourbon cask, American oak, you can't use anymore the Calvados, even if it was Calvados till the start to finish. But it's not a big deal for us because now I think we made a reputation around our product, our core range, and we are known also for this experimental stuff that we've got in our cellars, warehouses. So it's not a big deal. You see, it was a big success, and it's not called.
So and everybody's calling it Calvados.
From Calvados, after the first day into Amden cask, he moved to eau de vie of cider. Eau de vie, the cider. That's not a big deal for us. It's
no, of course. And
product and
when the taste is good and actually it is in the end it is Calvados. Not by rules, French rules, but do you think the rules will be changed within a few years? Because I presume you are the first doing this, but the others will follow. If this is a big success,
that's the deal right now. Guillaume is not fighting, but he's dealing with the AOC to make sure that they will not change the rules, because we've got a lot of Calvados aging in this type of experimental cask, and without to think about this aspect of selling and being successful, we think this is the way that we can bring more people into this category. You see, most of the people, they get into Amden Angels. Maybe they never tasted before Calvados, or they had a bad feeling about these spirits, because sometimes it can be really oaky, like covering the apples and not as subtle as I think we are trying to do and in our dairy work.
Okay. For example, the Hamdens. What's the influence with the Calvados? Is it sweeter? Does the apple a bit less there and more the rum style, or?
the challenge is always, and this is what I like from Christian Drouin since I know this company for 10 years, without to work for them for many years, is they always find the right balance. I mean, Apple is always here. You would have obviously the spices. You would have these characteristic flavors from the highest rum, but apples is really coming together with the characteristic of this distillery. So now fitting really well. You've got those natural vanilla flavors, spices. I was the first time I tasted it was during first time I had a full bottle. It was during the lockdown, and I was doing banana bread with my wife. And during all the afternoon, I was with banana smell and also bakery flavors. And I was just thinking about what the Amden before to open it could smell and taste. And it was the perfect match, because you've got those banana really full ripped flavors, and we've got the pressure, to be honest. I've got the pressure because it was really cool, this one. I know Mars is nice, but we need to carry on with this type of quality and surprising stuff. We can't fall on a classic style.
No. The last few years, there are a lot of whiskey producers who are doing finishes with Calvados casks. Is it a good thing for the Calvados industry in general?
Yeah, I think so. Before the Scotch Society changed the rules, I think it was a year and a half or 2 years ago, we were doing some exchange, or at least selling sometimes some cask from us to whiskey companies. You have to Kilchoman, Aran, Dalmore, many others. They've got some cask for many years from us. But as I just mentioned, the rules changed a few months ago, and but before you couldn't mention Calvados on your bottle. We don't know why, but I think, to reply to your question, I think it's a good thing. It's always a good thing that popular categories, consumer from popular categories, come to know about Calvados or Cognac, Armagnac through through finishes, and then can be more involved. And
the fun part about the whiskies finished with Calvados cask is when the first smell, you almost every time you get the apple. And when I hear you talk, it's all about the apple. And that's actually, they did a good job, and you did as well, and not only you, the others as well. But the apple is there.
Yeah.
So
this is what I like from spirits. When you taste, I've got the chance to taste a lot of old vintages from our house, and this is really surprising. All the apples evolved from a year to another, from a vintage to another. Apple is always in your glass. So if you did well your job and not over-oaked your Calvados, apple will be always here, depending on evolve. But I've got the example of the 1980 vintage available on our range. Is more, I would say, is more awake than the 1990. The 1990 will be rounder, but the 1980 is you've got those really volatile and really awake spirits. That is really surprising, because it's more than it's 40 years, and you can go even further. You can go to the 1973, and even 73. Same type of spirits. You'll never fall down, and you never fall this awakeness. And this is what
the best part is, you don't get the feeling like it. You don't have to spend a lot of money on it, because it's not cheap, not at all. But when you compare it with a rum or something else, they are always very expensive when you compare them with Calvados, for example.
Yeah, it's not as Armagnac but because Armagnac is still more affordable. But Calvados is, I think it's a really quality product, and you can have all vintages. For example, my 1988. This is my year of birth. Is in a shop. You can have it around 190 euros.
Yeah, it's not that expensive. No.
So you can have a really good experience. And what I like also from what Christian and Guillaume are doing for many years is on vintages. They are not working on the same way from a vintage to another. It means after 16 to 18 years, even if they were tasting every summer the distillates, the eau de vie, they try to give a direction and make it better for the next year. So they use some casks they've got available around them, and from a vintage to another, there is the year of the vintage, quite important for anniversaries, but also you need to have an understanding of what we were trying to do around 16, 18 years old is giving this direction. So we use sometimes Muscat Result aging 1 to 2 years, or sometimes sherry amontillado with port to bring structure. Sherry bring the nuts, walnuts flavors, nutty flavors, and oxidative notes. So every single vintage is different, and this is what I like. It never ends, and it evolves from a bottling to another. Yeah. You may know, for example, right now I've got the 2000 vintage in front of me. It's 16 years classic aging, and then 4 years in Tokai from Hungary. And in my opinion, this is really good right now because it's just 20 years. But the last cask that the Calvados were aging in is Tokai, so it's quite Tokai flavors together with the apple. But in my opinion, if we are waiting 5 to 6 years more, it will be more gentle, the Tokai touch. It will evolve still in the cask. So this is the ultimate experience for our vintages selection. Is you can compare different bottling from the same vintage. And this is what I got as a chance working for the company. I've got the chance to compare, and it's amazing. All the apple remain in a glass, and it evolves from bottling to bottling.
Okay, talking about the apples, the orchards. This is one of the orchards.
Yeah.
Are all the apples? Are they coming from the distillery itself, or are they by local farmers or?
We've got the apples we're using mainly come from our orchards. We've got more than 20 hectares. And Guillaume and his father like to buy from neighbors, small producer of apples. Sometimes this is even not their main activity, but they are producing apples on the same way as we do. So naturally, there is no treatment. They are high stem. So you've got this 2 meters high stem, and then you've got the trees with all the branching apples, allowing the cows to evolve and having the fresh grass, producing by the end the cream, the butter, and also the cheeses. But those producers, they've got 1 hectare to 3 hectares maximum. And because we want to keep this biodiversity of so many varieties available, if we are not buying from them, they will maybe sell the land for house, or they will let the apple growing, and you will have some disease coming to their orchard and then our. So this is something they are really they take care about. Like they make sure they will buy from them every year to make sure we will carry on with this biodiversity of apple varieties.
Okay, so, but they don't ask the neighbors for can you make this kind of apples? It's all naturally.
it's all naturally. So we are, we're not basically for Norman people. It's not a big work being in the orchard. We've got only one people in charge of the orchard.
Okay.
For the others, there are two. It's not the same work as you know in the vineyard. You just let grow the apples. By the end of August, beginning of September, just right now, the cows are out of the lands. They had sufficient apples to eat. They are the one with the worms, the one we will not use. They are the first to drop down on the floor. And then we're just waiting. Every week we are around the apple trees and we just collect the different apples. And if the orchard is well planted, we'll have exactly the proportion of apples that we need based on a recipe. Because I was talking about varieties, but they are split in 4 families. You've got the bitter apples, the sweet, the bittersweet, and the sharp apples. From September up to December, you will have different varieties coming from those 4 families of apples. And if you did well when you were planting your orchard, you will have the same proportion from September to December.
Wow.
So, it's quite amazing.
Somebody's thinking about that, so we have to do this. Of course, we didn't show this one, but this one is the most important picture of the evening. This is where it all happens.
This is the farm where almost everything is transformed. You can see a small orchard at the back. This is only 2 hectares that we've got in this site, because this farm, in this farm is, I think, the production of cider is about 400 years in this place. But the Christian Drouin family, they bought this place in early 80s because they had no more space in the first farm, where now we are focusing on the orchard, the transforming the apples in cider, fermenting, and then we bring it. So it's about 3 kilometers from the farm you've got in pictures. Picture. So 3 kilometers, we transfer the juices, the ciders, to the distillery, where you could see the small orchard and the old buildings. This is where we distill, bottle, or I would say age, bottle, and also have some visitors every year. So 2 different sites where we transform the apples from orchard.
This has the visitor center. So this one has the visitor center.
Yeah. We've got a lot of visitors every year because we are on the road from Paris to Deauville, which is quite renowned for Parisian people during the weekend. They go a lot. It's popular from the painters, Monet.
Isn't the palace from Louis XV? No, isn't that in the near?
I'm not sure about a palace there, but there is there is a lot of people going there for many years, and they are the famous painters, the impressionists. They start to move from Paris to the lands to paint the beautiful landscapes, typical landscapes, and also the sky. The sky is changing a lot on the coast, and so we are on the road from Paris to Deauville, Trouville, Honfleur also. And this is the reason why we've got a lot of visitors during the weekend and also during the week. 25,000 people coming every year.
That's a lot.
As I say, we're not the biggest distillery, but in terms of visitors, we are the 3rd one.
When I had the tasting with you in July, I asked you a question. I will ask it again for the people who are watching and don't get the answer. For a lot of years, there was mention on the bottle, Cœur de Lion.
Yes.
And nowadays it's just Christian Drouin. What's the reason?
So when Christian Drouin first generation had this stock, his son, also called Christian Drouin, decided together with his father to call it Cœur de Lion. So Cœur de Lion was for many years the name of the company. But as you probably know, there is a cheese now really popular in supermarkets, also called Cœur de Lion. And the Christian Drouin family, they didn't register well. I would say they register well for drinks,
but not for in general.
But not in general. And Lactalis Group, which is the big group behind this Cœur de Lion cheese, used the same logo, same colors, exactly the two lions.
And they bought a trademark.
Yeah, so it was really bad for the company after some years. I remember 2 weeks ago, Guillaume was telling me about a small story. Like he was doing the export and representing the brand, doing a tasting, and some people were starting to laugh when he started to say, yeah, I'm representing Cœur de Lion Calvados. So yeah, after a few months, and they decided to get rid of this name, not fighting at this big player.
No.
And just putting the name of the creator. It's quite logical to bring all this light to this clever and smart.
And it makes it easier because now it's family owned, and now it's family name as well. So this is part of the core range.
Yes.
You have Le Blanche, Le Jean, of course, and then the VSOP and the XO. I'm a big fan of the Horse Dash, by the way.
Yeah, that's our flagship. Is 18 to 25 years. As I say earlier, we like to say that Calvados, after 16 to 18 years, passed a step. I would say like he evolved so much after this amount of years, and we say that Ordage is our flagship because we didn't use original. I would say like. We didn't use like X cask from sherry or cognac or to balance the final result. We don't need it. So it's 18 to 25 years. So yeah, it's for a big occasion, I would say, because it's not. It's affordable for the quality of the juice, but it's not for every occasion, I would say.
Yeah, Alex, when I ask you, what do you think will be the status of Calvados in general, and more, of course, Christian Drouin within 10 years? Will it be better known, more loved, or more or less the same as now?
Yeah, I think we are on the right step now. It's the right step now because at least French people are understanding that French, as you mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, that we've got a big culture of drinking. We've got a big culture of transforming fruits or plants into beautiful drinks, from low alcohol to higher ABVs. And I think French people are realizing that they need to be proud of it. So and there is also another thing is we've got like typical rituals as Café Calva. It was old school way of consuming, and we're bringing it back to life with quality Calvados and quality coffees. Now you've got really good baristas and good coffee coming to France. So these type of rituals are bringing back some part of our history. For many years, for my generation or even older, the Calvados was in every selection of your father or grandfather spirit selection, but it was the dusty bottle, the one with the dust that they were like, yeah, let's have a drink, but you were not really motivated for having it. More motivated for rum or whiskey. So yeah, this challenge is starting to reach just kind of a success. It's just the beginning, but yeah, I think we are talking about natural fermentation, which is a big trend right now. No treatment, so it's almost organic. You've got big tradition. It was popular and then not So now French people are more interested in. They are proud of it, so they will speak about this category more. And export. There is still places, as you mentioned before, Taiwan.
Mm-hmm.
Of the people, even if they are involved in the industry for many years. Sometimes it's the first time they have a Calvados glass. So
Yeah.
I think the future is quite interesting. Will be really challenging. We are doing our best. I mean, I'm really proud of the juices I'm representing. I mean, everything in the bottle for me is quality, is high standard. So then you can do whatever you want to bring it to another stage. So it's packaging, but it's also the way you speak about it. This is the way you got the stars when you speak about it, and and having the right partners. And look,
Mm-hmm.
with this type of activity, like with the circumstances, COVID stuff, we are bringing Calvados tonight to a lot of houses,
Yeah.
staying at home, and so I think there is a really nice future for this category. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited to be part of this movement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned you're at your old place where you grew up, and you're making a bit of Calvados yourself at this point.
I can't call it Calvados because I'm not in the
The
denomination.
region. Yeah.
Because I'm not in the region, but this is the way I started to be involved and interested in spirit in general. My grandfather teach me about fermentation with the fruit we've got just behind me, like different
Mm-hmm.
apples and also plum, mirabelle, William Pierce, and this is the way I understood that it could be maybe my career. So I was deciding between being a skiing professor or being
Well,
involved in.
more
So
or
I
less
did.
the same. Yeah.
I did both, but then I decided the spirit side. But during the autumn, since I'm back in France, I'm using those fruits to transform into cider. I do also a lot of kombucha with this type of fruits. So I'm fermenting
Mm-hmm.
some tea and then sometimes flavoring with those fruits around. In about 3 weeks, the fruits will be ready to be crushed,
Yeah.
pressed, and to do. We say apple eau de vie, pear eau de vie, just for family and friends. But this is secret because it's not really legal to make it. But it's,
Nobody's looking.
nobody is looking. But a bit
Nobody.
garage distillation. But this is what my grandfather and my father transmit because they are involved in. They were involved in the wine and spirit industry for many years. So it's something I've got in my blood.
Yeah.
I had the chance to taste beautiful stuff since I'm a young teenager. So I think this is the reason why I'm interested in not common spirits. As I say, I was working for mezcal. 6 years ago, it was not popular as it is right now. I was
No.
speaking to friends. They were like, "You're crazy. You're living in Mexico. It's dangerous." And I was like, "Yeah, but I want to find a." For me, it was a big challenge, and it was a really good experience. And when I came back to France, I was like, "Let's end with the mezcal. Now it's not my time anymore." And I wanted to work for Guillaume that I met in New Orleans 7 years ago. So
Okay.
on a show, it was for bartenders. It's the biggest bartender show in New Orleans, and we met around the swimming pool. And when I came back to France, I say I want to work for this company. No job available in this company, but I insist, and I say I really want to work for you. And I left the mezcal, and he knew from colleagues that I think I was doing not so bad in mezcal and doing properly my job. And
Mm-hmm.
now I'm really excited to working with him because it's a one-to-one relationship. I mean,
Yeah.
he's more than the boss. He's a friend, and when we've got an idea, we just share by a phone call, even if we are not on the same office. and ideas become projects quite easily in this company. So
do you think you will be in France and working for Christian Drouin within 10 years? Or you maybe move to another country?
I hope so. I like to say to my friends when I'm joking or having a drink, I'm like, I'm suggesting a lot of projects with Guillaume without to play with my money and doing what I like the most. So why I would change? I'm taking risks because I'm preparing some project and then asking to Guillaume if we can make it. And sometimes he's also suggesting some stuff. But the way we work is really enjoyable. And as I said earlier, he gave me the opportunity to come back to my origins and enjoy my time, my free time, because I'm a big workaholic. I used to work too much when I was into mezcal and at the beginning of my Calvados experience. So now I've got this chance to, when I'm not traveling, because I'm traveling normally a lot, but when I'm not traveling, I have the chance to go for climbing after 7 o'clock for 2 hours and then be focusing the next day and, having full energy for giving my best for this company because it worth it.
You have a win-win situation at this point.
So it's a win-win situation. At this point, but a bit, the rhythm is a bit strange right now because I'm focusing on the French market, which is good. There's a lot to do, but I'm missing a bit traveling and having the challenge to share your passion and the product you're presenting in another language, for example, to another culture, discovering, meeting new people. It's a bit restricted right now. So I think this is the same for every people you were inviting to your show when they're in charge of doing brand ambassadoring or export. There is something missing right now. So
everybody's complaining all the time about the traveling. And not traveling by being in another country, but the real traveling by taking a plane, taking a train. But at this point, they're all saying, and in the end, I miss it.
Yeah, we miss meeting people. Just thinking about Spirit in the Sky, which is cancelled. I did it 3 times, 2 times for mezcal, and because Nectar was also the importer for my mezcal. And but the last time I did for Calvados 2 years ago. For me, it's really enjoyable because Nectar is just bringing all the bottles they've got in stock for tasting, and this is a real experience that you can share with people. I've got some Belgian people. I met a guy last week. He's called Joel. He's a big fan of Calvados. He was at the distillery again last week, and this is the type of people I met in Spirit in the Sky. And the last time we had a tasting during the show. Maybe we tasted 25 different types and sharing and being inspired by the juices distilled 20, 30, 40 years ago. And missing those moments of, those stars in the eyes. As I say, like most of the time people come to your stand and they don't know so much about Calvados. So you've got plenty of products that can bring this, shiny and smiley moment to life.
To explore, you can explore with them the oranges of Calvados at that point, again and again and again.
So it's grand. So we'll see you.
No, go ahead.
I mean, we will see how it goes. Had big plans for this year, according traveling and organizing a cocktail competition in Australia, in Taiwan, in Korea, but everything is stopped for the moment. And trying to plan it again for January, March.
But, I don't. I think it's too soon. Maybe.
There is other priority for shops and.
I hope you can go ahead. Alex, we're at the end of the show. First of all, thank you very much. For the viewers, next week we have another guest, 2 guests actually. Michiel and Mireille from The Green Man, Ostende and Islay edition. So they will be talking about a lot of whiskey. So I hope you will all join in. And at this point, Alex, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you
I
for your
hope
time.
to meet you one day again in live in person, so we can talk and have a drink together and have another drink and so on and so on.
Definitely.
We always end the show with our guests all alone, and he can say whatever he wants, and he can even say, Gunther, you suck at this, but it's everything is allowed. So we will meet up in the back after the show. So it's all up to you now. You can say hi to the viewers, and I will see you in a minute. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you. Guys, it was a pleasure to share small glass with you today, sharing personally my passion for spirits, but also for Calvados. I'm really proud to represent this this brand, which is Calvados Christian Drouin. I try to make my best according all the details and specificities according this category and the brand. I hope to meet you again in person on a show. Spirit in the Sky is one of those, but also at the distillery, you're more than welcome. It's open from Monday to Saturday, and I hope you enjoy your time. So goodbye from the French Alps, and I hope to see you soon on the Belgian market and share a drum or a glass together. Thank you very much.